Hi, we're Team Profilers. My name is Samuel. I'm a third-year computer science major.
Hey, I'm John. I'm a first-year master's student studying computer science with a concentration in HCI.
Hi, I'm Eddie, and I'm a fourth-year CS major.
Hey, I'm Will, and I'm a fourth-year CS major. Our project is called Resumaker. It's an interactive learning experience targeted towards undergraduate students in the College of Computing. As computer science students ourselves, we know how important resumes are on the job searching process. We wanted to make a comprehensive tool that encompasses all the tips and tricks from online resources and our own experiences that can teach students.
At the start of the project, our learning goals were to teach students how to prepare themselves for job searching. However, as the semester went on, we saw that the idea was too broad. Our learning goals became more specific, to teach students how to build an exceptional resume that will get noticed by recruiters. We do not want students to simply write bullet points onto a paper, but rather to teach users to understand the reasoning for including certain parts of resume. If the students begin to understand the purpose behind each section and the bullet point, they can then craft an even better resume for themselves in the future.
Now we're going to show you a full walkthrough of our prototype. This is Resumaker. You start by selecting your COC major. Let's click on Computer Science. Here's a general overview of this section. We've handcrafted a resume from a very popular alumni to be a prime example of what to include and not include in a traditional CS resume. All these tips and tricks were gathered from popular online resources, feedback from C2D2, as well as our own personal experiences. Here's an overview of a resume template neatly split into 5 main sections. Each section is clickable so that you can take an in-depth look into what's recommended to put down content-wise. Let's click on the heading section. Here you can see we focused the view onto the top section of your resume. We provided a neat list of bullet points of primary do's and don'ts for each section similar to this. Let's head to another section. Experience. This section is known to be very crucial for many CS resumes. We provided a short list of advice that's traditionally recommended by popular standards, such as including experience in reverse chronological order, being descriptive about including metrics in your bullet points, using the last bullet point to list out technologies used on the job, as well as stressing the use of active verbs. This was added in version 2 of our prototype after some feedback from the class. Another feature that we added in version 2 was a comparison section. Here you can see what a good and bad example of an experience section of a CS resume would look like. We wanted to provide this screen so that the student can see a side-by-side comparison. All other sections in the CS resume will have this. The project section is similar to the experience section. Here's the education section. And finally, here's the skill set section. Another feature introduced in version 2 of our prototype, we have included a page that's linked to resources for students that want to start designing their own resume. We decided as a team to ultimately let the student choose how he or she wants to create their own resume, because some people have preferences to stick with their own template, some might want to find other ones to suit their tastes.
In version 2, we fully implemented the computational media section to be very similar to the computer science section. As an example of a difference, in the heading section, we stressed that students need to include a hyperlink to their online portfolio. While optional for CS majors, the majority of CM roles generally require an evaluation of an online portfolio during the application process. Another difference is that CM majors may desire to include a leadership section alongside projects or experience. Finally, we linked CM majors to the same resume building resources, as we expect some of them to be fluent with Adobe products and prefer to create their resumes using these tools.
The first important concept is our user context, because we are specifically targeting College of Computing students. If the user were to be outside of this context, they would find little use to our technology. Before we started making the actual product, we developed the idea to create a technology that would help students with knowledge acquisition and really teach them the ideas behind making a resume. Then, while making the technology, we wanted to focus on user-centered design for the actual project, where we would focus on what the user wanted to see and use. So even more, we focused on the learner-centered design, where we focus on modeling an end product for the student. So all in all, we created this tool by empathizing with the user, since we are all also computer science majors searching for similar jobs. Because of this, we were able to step into the shoes of the learners ourselves and develop a tool that we would also like to use to create a resume.
To put our technology to the test, we decided to present it to a variety of users, starting with C2D2 advisors. We hoped that they would give us advice on how our technology could be incorporated in COC or C2D2 services in the future. These advisors both had significant knowledge of career finding and even had a role in running C2D2's resume building workshops. They gave valuable information to us about the strengths and weaknesses of our technology. Next, we also sent our technology to students, alumni, and recruiters and walked through it with them. This one-on-one mentoring session was a good way for us to see how users would actively engage themselves with using the technology. Hearing and seeing their navigation through different sections of the resume helped us see more of the information they learned about resume building.
We were able to obtain many interesting insights into the mind of learners during this project implementation. In terms of teaching users how to make a resume, we learned that resume making is such a broad area even in itself. There are so many different types of resumes that are specific to the individual that it would be really difficult to incorporate into our product. In terms of educational technology in general, we learned that teaching is ridiculously difficult and there are so many challenges that arise when actually implementing a product. Getting the user engaged with technologies is an obstacle, even when the technology pertains directly to the user. We could tell that some of our users did not read all of our points on the prototype, even though the information pertained to them. Also, learners can come up with so many edge cases and preferences, and it's extremely hard to cater to all of them. But with all of that said, it is really rewarding to see that people would want to use our product, and they actually learn something new from it. It gives us insight to how the user thinks and what they would find useful in the long run. Testing our prototype with students, recruiters, and C2D2 advisors, and the class provided us with extremely helpful feedback that would help improve our iterative design process. In addition to what we learned and as we move into the future of this technology, there are many different features that we could still implement to help the user learn. In addition to a bunch of features, one of the biggest challenges that we received when talking to C2D2 advisors was that the template was too set in stone. Learners will believe that there is only one certain way to make a resume and that steering away from the standard would be incorrect. However, in reality, resumes can be very creative and express the person's individuality more than a standard template. So the challenge for us would be to teach a method that steers away from an overall standard and caters to the specific interests of the users. It is extremely difficult to encapsulate all of the different scenarios and cases that each person may have. Additionally, we would have to branch out more and request the help of current students and alumni who represent all the diverse fields of computer science. But with all things considered, this was a fun and rewarding project. We hoped everyone was able to learn and get key takeaways as we learned a lot throughout the process as well. So thanks for tuning in into our journey.